Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday. You know what that means. It's Monday Madness, and it's our top 5 talking points. And backed by popular demand is the ref. It's Lockdown
You're
Series
frozen.
2, episode 68. Here we go. Welcome back to the Highbury squad. The ref, how you doing? Can you hear me? Referee can't hear me. Will it go to VAR? Let's see. No,
I can't hear you.
You can't hear
frozen.
me. We can hear you. Is it me who's frozen or you're frozen? Maybe I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
No, it's you. Well,
Yeah. Well, I can hear you and you can hear me,
yeah,
but
you're
we
just
can't hear each
now
other.
you're completely frozen on the screen.
Okay. All right. Give me a minute, everybody. Referee, I'm going to put this up for you. How about this? You can barely hear me. I'll be right back. Okay. Here we go. Look at this.
Yes, I can see that, but over my face, but I can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me? No? Can't hear me? We're having a technical difficulty. Everyone in chat, let me know who you can hear. I'm fine, apparently. Good evening, Sophie. I can hear you perfect. Good evening, Sophie, squaddies. Here we go. Evening, ref. Hello, everyone. All right, everyone in chat, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I think they can hear me perfectly, but you can't hear me, ref, which is a problem. Gosh darn it.
You sound like a robot and your screen is frozen.
Apparently, they're saying that it's you that's bollocks, not me. And they can hear us perfectly. So everyone can hear us perfectly, but you may not be able. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the picture up, and here's where we're going.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Listen, hey guys, welcome. Technology, bollocks to that. It's Monday Madness. We've got the ref on, and literally this is going to be a half-hour show today. I'm sweating like swine, by the way. I'm not feeling well. I've been up all night, have not slept a wink. And here we are, though. The show must go on, and the Highbury squad goes on. We've got the ref in the house. So everyone can hear us, ref. Are you good hearing me right now?
Yeah, you're better than you were. You're still a little bit in and out, but yeah, I can get the gist.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. VAR was an absolute nuisance this weekend. I literally just got off an MLS presentation, Major League Soccer. It's Media Week here in the United States. And Howard Webb, as you know, is the general of referees around the globe. And it was very interesting hearing him. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this as a prelude. But then the ref is just literally going to take over and we're going to talk about what happened in the Premier League this weekend. So I had the opportunity to talk to Howard Webb I'm saying like a few minutes ago, and I want to share this with everybody. Okay, so here we go. You ready? I asked Howard Webb, fans are emotional, football fans are emotional. We've got an algorithm and a computer making decisions. We've got lines that are taking toenails and fingernails to the extreme. How do you explain to football fans how this is happening, how it's going to stop happening, but also the most important thing is why there isn't a little bit more human decision making in this process? All right, so here we go.
When we say we do understand the emotions that the game generates. Most of us come from a background of, being fans of the game at the very least, playing the game to the level that we were able to play it at, and therefore understanding the pain and the emotion and the sort of like the elation when things go well. This game has an amazing habit of making you feel ever so down, but ever so up as well. Same when you're refereeing as well, and we can't take that away. We always have to remember that human element. We ask our officials to always try to build that into the way that they manage the game, the way that they manage players, again, understanding where the lines are. In terms of, if somebody crosses an acceptable line, they have to be dealt with on the field. But I don't know. I think that I think we're quite fortunate in MLS. We've got still a youngish league. It's year 26 now, yeah. But we're still not quite bound by some of the traditions of some of the older leagues. Where we've got that ability to be a little bit more flexible, less tradition, and a progressive mindset. I think our fans have got that as well. I think, and there's an acceptance and an expectation that VAR will be used in our competition. The question when I first came in 2017 is, why has it taken so long? So the culture is different in different places in the world. There's no doubt in my mind that any issues in other competitions will be smoothed out, ironed out as people become more familiar with it. The officials become more skilled at using it, and the real value of it will be seen, because nobody wants a game to be won by a goal that should clearly be disallowed. That's clearly unlawful. Nobody wants that, and so the benefits outweigh any negatives. And I think as time goes by, those benefits will really continue to be more obvious as we become more accustomed. And just in closing, I think if anybody was to talk about taking VAR out of, or video review out of MLS, I just think there would be such an uproar, because it just sits there behind the scenes, helping officials avoid clear errors, making sure that the game, as it should at the very start, making it more fair, making it more fun, and we enjoy using it, and we're pleased that it's there to assist us to be better officials.
Okay, I'm just going to hand it over to the ref now, because this weekend in the Premier League, we saw some of the most incredibly dubious decisions based on fingernails, toenails. Fulham game, Manchester City game, the Liverpool game, tonight's game against West Brom. I had put this image up so the ref could see it. So I'm just going to hand over to the ref to talk us through about some of what's happened in the Premier League this weekend and how we move forward from this. Let's take it piece by piece, ref. May as well start with this. It's up to you. Where do you want to go? Just let us know about the debacle that was VAR this weekend, and what your thoughts are on Howard Webb's comments.
I mean, I'm glad Howard Webb thinks that it's more fun. I don't watch the MLS enough to comment on what's going on there, but in the Premier League, which is the marquee league in the world, we have managed to take a very simple game and a very simple sport and talk ourselves up an alley with it. So the picture you just go backwards. The picture you've just put up on the screen there was tonight's game between West Brom and Southampton. Fortunately, West Brom have come out victorious and won that game 3-0. That was at 0-0 early in the game. The goal was scored by the number 5. It was Kyle Bartley, I think, and Dianya in the middle. Dianya in the middle scored the goal. Bartley is in an offside position. Bednarek is playing Dianya onside clearly from that picture. When they looked at it and when they tried to put the lines across, they've said they can't find the correct angle to see if Dianya's offside or onside. But you don't need an angle. You can use your eyes. He's clearly onside. At the end of the day, VAR was brought in to find clear and obvious errors by officials. Well, all they're doing at the moment is completely muddying the waters. That decision tonight was an absolute shambles and actually encapsulates exactly where we are with it. We're using computers, we're using algorithms. We've taken away the human being common sense from the game and refereeing the sport. And now we're using computers. And if the computer says no, or the computer breaks down, as we know with technology it can, we have no way, it seems, of using our eyes and our common sense to go, he's onside, that's a goal. Nobody would complain if that goal was given. Nobody. Not Southampton, not West Brom. Nobody. He's onside. Yet they've given offside because they can't use the computer to find a reason to give the goal. It's ridiculous. We've had several this weekend. We had one on Friday night in the Wolves game. Again, we're talking a hair's breadth. I've looked at it 6 or 7 times. I can't tell you whether he's onside or offside. The hardest thing to do in a game of football is to score a goal. It's a unique sport, football, in many ways. Most sports have heavy points totals. Most sports have a number of points scored. Football is the only sport I can think of in the world where it's acceptable for there to be no goals in a game. The crowd will accept a 0-0 draw. Imagine that in any other sport. It wouldn't happen. So goals are precious. So what we should be actually doing is getting that joy, that sense of enjoyment when your team scores a goal, or even when And a team you're not involved with scores a goal and you're watching it and you go, wow, what a great goal or whatever. We're taking that guttural enjoyment away from the game because we've decided to find an nth degree of what is onside and offside. It is utterly ridiculous. We had another one on Saturday in the Liverpool-Aston Villa game when Roberto Firmino scored. Diogo Jota was deemed to be offside. Again, his feet are a good yard behind the defender. It's the way he's leaning, and he decided that his arm may be in an offside position. It's bonkers, is what it is. And for Howard Webb to sit there and say there'd be uproar if you lose video assistant referees, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to get. They're not going to get rid of it. We have to put up with it, but they have to change it for the better. They have to have the honesty to sit there and say, we have got this wrong. Fine, it's new. We have made mistakes, but the interpretation of the offside rule has to go. It has to change. It's got to be visible that a player is offside. It's got to be visible. If you're having to draw a line and dotted lines up to see if someone is offside, the decision in the Liverpool game took 3 minutes. 3 minutes to decide whether someone was offside. If you can't tell on one view, if you can't look at it and go, he's offside, he's onside. Level is onside in our sport, or it's supposed to be. It's not anymore. If you're level now, you are virtually offside because you're talking the width of an arm. It's ridiculous. And tonight is the opposite. So tonight we've got a player who's clearly onside, clearly. And they've deemed that because the computer says no, because they can't find an angle to put the lines across, they've given it offside when everyone can see that he's onside. It's bonkers. Last season, do you remember the Villa game where the ball went over the line and they said that the communication to the angles were blocked, so they couldn't see that the ball had gone over the line? Use your eyes. You don't need a bit of technology to say it's over the line. Everyone could see it was over the line. So just go. For some reason, technology's not worked. It's a goal. Play on. Goal. Tonight, technology's not worked. We can't make the lines. Okay, but I can see he's onside. So therefore, he's onside. I despair. And Howard Webb there, wow, okay. You know, he finds it fun. He thinks it's helping referees quietly in the background.
You know...
It's not, is it? It's very much in the foreground, and it's not helping referees.
It is. Super Kev has joined us from the Sky Sports Monday Night Football studios, ref, saying don't need an angle, it's plain to see. The handball has been rectified for next season. I mean, what about what's happened to teams this season? The offside rule and the line, you know, I was listening to Howard Webb and what he was talking about in terms of what Major League Soccer are going to do. And Major League Soccer, whether people like it or not, have been kind of pioneers in VAR. They're going to bring back the audio for this season as well, ref. But what I want you to kind of talk us through is there's so many incidences in English football this week. And from the stud up tackle and in the City game to what happened at Fulham, to what happened to Liverpool, to what happened to McTominay. I mean, where do you want to start? What do you want to pick on? How are we going to process this? And then the handball decision's been changed for next year, as I said. This weekend seemed to be one of the worst ever for VAR. And one of the things I asked Howard Webb was, why is it the best league in the world is struggling, whereas other leagues are finding a way to make this work?
Yeah, I don't think other leagues necessarily are brilliant with it. I mean, I watched a game in Germany a couple of weeks ago where they made a right codswallop of it. But the Premier League has got it worse than anyone because it's typical of what English football does and the hierarchies does. You've watched football for a long time, as I have. And I've never known the people in charge of football to get obvious things correct. They always manage to overcomplicate things. They always have done, and they always will do. It just seems to be a thing with authority in this country. I don't know why, but we just managed to make it more complicated. What we've tried to do is to get VAR to make definitive decisions. That's what they're trying to do. That's where the offside rule has gone. You know, the argument is if you're offside, you're offside. It doesn't matter whether it's a millimetre or a foot, you're offside. That takes away any type of common sense and any type of flow of the game or an interpretation of the game. And football is not. It's not a black and white sport. It can't be. The only line decisions that you can get 100% correct in football, really, is whether the ball's over the line. And they've got that right, generally. The Villa game's the exception, but they get that right. There's nobody arguing about whether the goal line technology is incorrect. But what they've managed to do is everyone, or a lot of people were saying that what VAR will do is it'll stop the obvious errors, it'll stop the big errors, and it'll stop the muddy waters of whether an official has made a mistake. Officials are human beings. So officials will make mistakes. So we'll go back to the Spurs one yesterday. Mm-hmm. The referee on the field is not helped because the guy in the VAR booth has said, go and have a look at it on the TV. Once he goes to look at it on the TV, there is contact between McTominay and the player. Now, it's never a foul. It is never a foul. But once he sees that there is contact, he is going to give a free kick. It's going to happen. It was the same there was a game this season between Brighton and Liverpool where in injury time, Brighton got a penalty where there's a Miri's contact on Danny Welbeck's foot by Andy Robertson when the ball has gone. It's not a foul, but as soon as he says go and look at it and there's contact, he's going to give it. So what we've managed to do, or what they have managed to do, is they've managed to take any type of common sense away from the referee. The referee on the field can't use common sense in those situations. Once he sees this contact, he's got to give the decision because there is contact. So he's been told, go and look at it. There's contact. There's contact. He gives a decision. But it's a wrong decision. The other thing that they managed to do on the referee's booth is they show it in slow motion. Don't show it in slow motion. Show it in quick motion. Show it in proper speed. Because that's the way you know whether something is a foul or not a foul. In the Man City Leeds game, the lad was sent off. Cooper was sent off. Now, it's a 50-50 one. That's not a glaring error. He was off the floor. He was out of control. But at slow speed, it looks a horror tackle. In slow speed, you go, ooh. In quick speed, you go, he's got the ball. He's out of control, yeah. 50-50. Not in slow motion. In slow motion, it's a 100% red card. But that's not how the game's played. It's not played in slow motion. Slow motion should only be used if there's any doubt of whether there is contact. Say a 50-50 tackle in the penalty area. That's the only time that slow motion should be used, so you can see whether a player's got the ball or not got the ball. Tackles should never be shown in and if Amanda's watching this, we always have an argument about stuff because she sends me still photographs of tackles, which again you just can't look at it. You could make every tackle on earth look like a foul if you take a slow motion, take a still photograph. Slow motion should never be used. We've just complicated it. We've overcomplicated it. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this, Ref. When the referee in the Manchester United-Tottenham game, he let play go. In his eyes, the McTominay wasn't a foul, and United go on to score. But yet the VAR, the assistant referees are saying you got to go see it, and he goes and sees it, and he changes what his instinct was on the pitch. And we see this all the time. Yeah. Son actually went for McTominay's shirt. So he's kind of doing that, and he just catches him. And obviously Son falling like a ton of bricks and acting like he was shot 10 times in the chest didn't help the situation. But then when he goes to the screen, and we always want the referee to go to the screen, he overturns his own decision on the pitch. Is that an integrity issue at all? Should he have stuck to his guns?
I think I go back to what I said right at the start about that incident. He's not helped by the fact that he's had to go to the screen. That doesn't help him because there is contact. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a foul, but there is contact. And as soon as there is contact, he's going to overturn the decision. As I said, it's the same in the Brighton-Liverpool game where there's a merest of contact. He's going to give it because there is contact. So he's not helped by the fact that the video referee said, go and have a look at it. Once that happens, it takes a lot for someone to go, no, I'm right, when there is contact. Mm-hmm. If there was no contact, it's easy, play on. When there is contact, it doesn't help the referee on the field. But the bigger thing on this is that incident happens 50 times every game. In the same game later on, nobody will pick up on it, but in the same game later on, Wan-Bissaka pushes someone on the edge of the box with two hands. It's not a foul, by the way, but he does. He pushes someone, tangling for the ball. He pushes the player away. Play on. The referee says play on. There's nobody appeals for a foul because it's a contact sport. People shove and pull it. Imagine a corner. If that's a foul, what McTominay has done, imagine how many penalties are going to get given at corners. Because everyone's grappling, everyone's pulling, everyone's pushing. You can't give a penalty or a foul for every contact in a game of football. Just because there is contact doesn't make it a foul. But the referee on the field is not helped by the video assistant. They should never have intervened. They should never have intervened. It's the video assistant who should have the balls to go, nothing in that. Don't even question it. Play on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the Spurs players are doing. It doesn't matter that Son's rolling on the floor crying. It's irrelevant. The guy in the booth should just say to the referee, nothing to see here, mate, play on. They're referees.
Ref, can I ask you, of all the decisions that happened this weekend, which do you think was the most damning for the league? Because you and I had a pre-show, chat, and we were talking about. I was kind of letting you know I was on the Howard Webb conference call for the Major League Soccer Media Week stuff, and he was talking about the handball rule. I think and most people know that's changing next season. It's only going to be the player in possession if he handballs it and scores versus a teammate who may accidentally handball it. That won't come into effect. Well, that's affected a lot of teams this season, as we know. That was the biggest issue earlier on in the season. I know we have you for a limited time. I just wanted, what is the most glaring, awful decision for the biggest league in the world to have had to deal with, and for the fans on a global level to see it? Because this weekend felt like the worst of all. Which do you think was just kind of like the most damning of all?
The one tonight. The one tonight. You can look at the others. You can look at the Liverpool offside. You can look at the Wolves offside, and you can go, okay, is he offside? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but you know what? That's what they're saying. That's the drop. Okay, it's garbage. And look, certainly the one in the Liverpool game, he's leaning forward, and the way the lines are drawn, when they initially put the lines on, he looks well onside. When they draw the lines, he looks level, and then he's given offside. Okay, the one tonight, they have stuck with the decision on the field, which is clearly and glaringly incorrect because the video technology can't back up a decision. That is utterly bonkers. Now, that was 3-0 to West Brom tonight. I'll just give you a scenario. Imagine that's Aguero in the last minute.
Oh, my God.
For Man City against QPR, and the lines can't be drawn by VAR to see if he's onside or offside, but he's been given offside on the field and he scores, and you can see he's onside. You can see it. I can see it. You can see it. He's onside, but they say we've still got to disallow it because the video can't do the lines properly. We haven't got the right camera angle. Wow, well, good luck to policing that. There is going to be a decision soon with crowds in a stadium where a team is going to be relegated, or a team is going to be denied winning a trophy, or a team is going to be denied European football or Champions League football, whatever it is. But somebody soon is going to be on the end of one of these because you can't pick and choose what games it happens in. Tonight they were lucky because it ended up 3-0 to West Brom. But just imagine West Brom got relegated. Just imagine that they went down by 2 points and they drew tonight's game. That's the future of that football club.
Ref, do you think this offside, they're talking about taking away the lines, aren't they, for next season with the offside rule?
Yeah.
And But VAR will still come into how do we see that working? Because it seems this is the most contentious of all, aside of the handball. It's become the most contentious of all.
I think it's more contentious than handball now because they've recognised they've made a codswallop of handball. So now it's now offsides. What if Firmino's goal was scored on Wednesday night against Real Madrid? That'd be given. Because they don't use the lines on the field in Europe. They use just the algorithm. Is on the camera angle they're looking at, is he level? He looks level, he's onside. They'd just play on. They'd look at it once and it'd be a goal. It wouldn't even be a debate. And no one would argue because it just looks right. Offside now, they've got to change the interpretation of the offside rule. They have got to change it. They've got to have the balls to stand up and say, we need to make this simpler. We need to make it fairer.
Mm-hmm.
You ask Kev when he's on next. He played at the highest level. You are in the Premier League against some of the greatest defenders in world football. Your Virgil van Dijk's, your Ruben Diaz's. You're up against the best players, the cream of the cream. If you're a striker, you've got to give yourself every advantage to get past those players. What the Premier League have managed to do is to make it harder for the attacking player to get an advantage against the defending player. That is not fair. I can't imagine how many goals an Ian Wright or an Ian Rush would have had, or a Gary Lineker would have had disallowed in the modern game. I don't know, because they were always on the shoulder of the last defender, always. We've had offsides this season that have been given offside by someone pointing. Patrick Bamford pointed for the ball. Give me the ball here. But because his arm was out, he had a goal disallowed. That's a goal in the Premier League. But this is what they've done. So they've managed to... There was a game, I can't remember who was in it. There was a game where they were drawing the lines at the wrong place. They were putting the line up to the shirt sleeve of the player on the inside.
The armpit.
Defender.
Mm-hmm.
It's got... If you're going to do that, it's got to be the part of the body that's closest to the goal. So you don't do it on the inside. You've got to do it on the outside. That's closer to the goal. It's ridiculous. They've just complicated. The offside rule has to change. They have to make it simple and fair and visible for us, the paying public. I pay 750 odd quid for a season ticket. I want to know what's going on. You talked about referees talking before, or listening to the chat between the video assistant and the referee on the field. Absolutely. They do it in rugby. They do it in rugby league. They do it in rugby union. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be able to hear what is going on, especially the people sat at home watching it on TV. It's just a wall of darkness. Everyone just stands there. He stands with his finger in his ear. And the next thing, disallowed. It's like, okay, explain it. I want to know why.
So one of the things that I was talking to Howard Webb about was why not make it universal? Whatever the rule is in MLS, like you can hear the conversation between the ref and the officials, or you can hear the dialogue. What's in play? What's contentious? What are you looking at? Why isn't it consistent across all leagues? And he actually talked about how it's, because I asked him about coming from an emotional point of view, right? And fans are not starting to question, they have been questioning. How do you explain these things to them? And he talked about how football's a little older in other countries, and in MLS it's new, so they're able to kind of, do things a little bit differently. But shouldn't it be universal, ref? I mean, this is the beautiful game. Why isn't it consistent in all leagues across the universe?
Yeah, there are potential flaws in that, in terms of technology and in terms of money, I suppose. If there's a difference between, say, the Premier League and maybe the Dutch league in terms of money and in terms of infrastructure. So you might have some arguments about that, but for me, if you can do it, if you can actually do it, and you can do that, you can have the technology that allows certainly the viewing public on TV. In grounds, it's slightly different, but certainly viewing in TV, viewing on TV, you should be able to hear the conversation. There's no reason why you shouldn't. I just think they've got to start making it. If you're going to have video technology, they've got to start making it clear, as I'm watching it, why that goal has been disallowed. It's got to be clear to me as a punter, and I know me football, or I like to think I do. But I've seen decisions this weekend where I'm just going, I haven't got a clue. I genuinely don't know anymore. You know, the game on Friday, the game on Saturday, the game tonight, I'm sat watching it going, I don't know. Now, I've watched football for 45, 46 years. I've refereed. And if I'm not being funny, but if I'm struggling to understand what's happening, if I'm struggling to understand why they're making the decisions they are, then what chances your casual punter got? What chances a new person coming to the game got? And the other thing that I will say, and this applies to whether you watch it on TV, because not everyone is fortunate enough to be able to go to the games. Not everyone lives in the same country. Not everyone doesn't mean you're any less of a fan. You can be as passionate if you're sat in, I don't know, USA or India or China or wherever. It doesn't matter. It's the same feeling. When your team scores a goal, it's the greatest feeling ever. The ball hits the back of the net and everyone has the same feeling, that enjoyment, that, oh my God, we've scored. Wow, that guttural explosion of excitement. It's going. Because now you sat there going, I can't celebrate that yet. Is it given? Is there a through ball? Is he offside? I'm watching. I've been in a game. So I think everyone who goes to football in the ground will appreciate this. Everyone, it's a natural thing. It's innate once you've been going for a certain length of time. Your team scores and your eye automatically goes to the linesman. You just glance. You don't have to stare, but your team scores. And even in celebration, you just go, have a look over there. Is his flag up? No, right, great, it's goal, fantastic. Because I've been caught out too many times. Now, you're looking at the referee. I look at the referee. So I'm in the ground, or when I could go in the ground, I look at the referee. So is the referee walking back to the halfway line and does he have his finger on his ear? That's my sign now. Because if he stops, if he stood stationary, that means they're checking something. And if he's got his finger in his ear, that means he's checking something. And it's like, that's what you've brought us to.
Right.
You have stopped that explosion of joy. Not in everyone. People still do it. People get caught out. But personally, I look at the referee and that's sad. That's sad. I should be jumping up and down and jumping on people like I would normally.
You should be, and actually Howard Webb talked on the press conference today about how players should go celebrate. They should enjoy it because based on the North American market here, of course, is that 9 times out of 10 that goal's gonna be just fine. And so he's saying, do not stop doing those things. Do not feel. So I feel like in the Premier League that hasn't caught on yet. I think because, this is that first kind of full season of VAR in essence of we've seen lots of dubious decisions. Players have been screwed. They're less reluctant to celebrate. They're not used to it. In other leagues, maybe they are, ref.
I've seen 2 players, I'm going to name them, 2 players who score quite regularly for their teams have changed the way that they celebrate their goals. So one is Son. So if you watch Son score, unless it's an obvious one, unless it's clearly onside, if you watch Son score and it may be marginal, it might not even be marginal, but there's a through ball, he looks straight away at the linesman. And he's not got that joy on his face straight away. So he'll glance, and if the flag doesn't go up, then he'll celebrate. The other one is Salah. If you watch Mo Salah score now, he almost has a conversation with the linesman. There was a goal last season that he scored, and he put it in, and he turned to the linesman, and he went. And it's like, what is going on here? A player has scored a goal in the Premier League, and he's looking at the linesman and having a debate about whether it's 50-50 or marginal, and the linesman probably, I couldn't see the linesman, but I'm assuming the linesman has gone, I think you're okay, and the goal was given. It's like, that's not how football should be. Mm-hmm. He should be running off and celebrating in front of the fans or celebrating with his teammates. That shouldn't come into play. That's where Howard Webb is absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Players should celebrate until someone gives them a reason not to.
It's a really sad state of affairs because I feel this season more than ever, ref, it's taken the sting out of it. The fact that players look around their shoulder, they're like, can I celebrate? Can I not? And technology, is we've all had to kind of embrace technology. It's changed our lives in so many ways, whether it's social media, whether it's apps, algorithms, how we order food, how we order a cab. I mean, there's game changers and
Can I just say
disruptive
something?
tech everywhere.
Can I just say something quickly about Howard Webb?
Yes, because I know you've got to go. So you let me know when you have to go, Ref. Okay.
I'll just say this point, and I'll do a summary, and then I'll go.
Okay.
So Howard Webb is in charge of refereeing in the United States. Okay. That right?
Yep. Yeah, he's the general.
So that's a sporting culture which is used to technology over the years. It has got more and more involved, especially in the NFL. The television impact on US sport has always been heavy, just purely because of the geography of the damn country. So TV has always played a big part in the way that sport is interacted with in the US. It's easier. He's right in what he says about culture and the fact that they don't have that history of culture around football. Old farts like me who watched the football back in the 70s and 80s and 90s are used to it being done in a very simple, very easy way. Has the flag gone up? Yes, no, goal, no goal. Is it wrong? Don't know. Go down the pub and talk about it. We've grown up with that. Mm-hmm. And there's something beautiful about that, by the way. There's something lovely about that. I'm sad that is going to be taken away. In some ways, I'm quite glad there's controversy about VAR, because actually, I think I'd rather have a little bit of that than an anodyne, whiter than white, everything sorted, put in a box and a bow wrapped around it. So even though we've got a bit of controversy and it's a shit show, it does bring a bit of controversy to the game and something to discuss, which is nice. But so Howard Webb's right. They can get away with it better in the MLS. They can almost experiment a little bit more in the MLS. In the UK especially, they've had to try to present it in a way that doesn't fundamentally change the way that football is interacted with, and they have cocked it right up. They have made, instead of doing it incrementally and instead of doing it softly, they have gone and balls completely changed. And I know FIFA dictate the rules, but the Premier League can bring their own interpretation, as we are seeing with the change of the handball rule for next season. That's their. I know that FIFA directly involved in it, but the FA, they instruct the referees at the start of each season. They send a pack to the referees at the start of each season, and they say, "Here's how you interpret this law and that law and the other." They could take a bold lead, and they could go, "You know what? We're going to do this. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this." But they've managed to overcomplicate it. They've managed to make it fabricated, and they've managed to make it not natural nor normal. And that fundamentally changes how we watch football. And that tonight should be an absolute wake-up call. There should be absolute murder tomorrow all over the press. It might go under the radar slightly because the game was done, or the game was won 3-0. But that tonight, people should be looking at that going, actually, if that was Italy, people would be asking questions.
Yeah.
About whether it's what it seems.
Ref, I think you brought up a great point earlier, and that is, thank goodness the results generally this weekend went in the way of the team that had played better. It didn't go against the West Brom in relegation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very lucky. What's your summary of all this before we let you go?
Yeah, I've got to go, but as I've said right from my fear when VAR, I don't know whether you remember, but we chatted about it back years ago. And my fear was when they brought VAR in, that they were going to make it a worse spectacle, and they were going to make it more complicated, and they weren't going to do what it was supposed to say on the tin, or what it says on the tin, which was one, to clear and obvious errors. Was that offside on Friday clear and obvious error? No. Was Firmino's clear and obvious error? No, they weren't. Was the McTominay one a clear and obvious error? No, it wasn't. So they've managed not to do that. That's just not happening. And also, they've managed to make the rules more complicated for people to watch the sport. So the way that we watch the sport is now totally different, because people like me, people like you, people who are watching this, people sat at home, don't understand what's going on. They can't interpret the rule. We're not hearing from the video technology referee speaking to the referee, and we don't understand why certain things are happening. And that's got to change. They've got to fundamentally change it. If not, you're going to start losing people from watching the game.
And that's the big shame of it. Look, Ref, I know you got to run. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to touch base with you again in the next couple of weeks. Let's hope that none of this nonsense has or plays a part in those Champions League spots, especially because I think the relegation is done and dusted, but there's a lot to play for still. So thank you so much for joining. You rock. Our listeners love you as always. And we'll see you soon, okay? There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sophie. Cheers.
A little bit like VAR. There was a bit of delay on that one, you guys. Sorry for a little bit of the technical stuff at the beginning with the ref. You know, he's in the northern part of England. I hear there's snow and there's some treacherous weather back home. In California, the sky is blue here today. And hopefully the sky will continue to be blue throughout the week as Arsenal prepare for a big game in the Europa League on Thursday. It's great stuff. I mean, you know, I have to say, I wanted to let you guys know that being part of MLS Media Week is really, I love it. It's one of my favorite weeks of the sporting year. Why? Because in the past, I've got to hang out with and talk to players like Frank Lampard and Andrea Pirlo and David Villa, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, David Beckham, you know, Sebastian Giovinco, Kaká. And it's just, this is the first year that we're not getting together for it. Actually, last year it was remote too, but usually you get together and you get to see journalists from around the country. You're kind of standing there in front of a Rooney or a Zlatan. You're like this close. You know, Tim Howard as well was someone that I met at MLS Media Day. You get to see all the journalists too. It's really a fantastic week, but MLS is definitely a league. It's younger, but it's ahead of the game. It's forward thinking. It's future ready. It's trying to think of all the technological aspects they can bring into the game and make it enjoyable for the viewer. So you go along for the ride if there's a VAR decision. You know, you can hear the referee's talking to the VAR refs. That part is huge. And I think that's going to be something that we're going to see introduced along the way in Europe, especially. So tomorrow, I'm just letting you guys know about my week, right? And I'm sorry, I'm not feeling tip top today. And I appreciate all of your love. And thanks to everyone who's joined in tonight. But we keep going. We keep marching on. You know, we keep moving forward. This is the lockdown series. We've all had ups and downs over the last year, but we march on together, right? So it's not been an easy weekend for the beautiful game because it kind of turned ugly with some of this VAR stuff. And being able to ask Howard Webb a question today and talk to him one-on-one. I love that kind of stuff. I live for that kind of stuff. It's just awesome. And, you know, it's just indicative of how the Premier League needs to kind of think. But at the same time, you can't blame all of the officials all the time because they're also going by the rules. But the rules are now judged by thumbnails and hair nails. Hair nails? Is there such a thing as a hair nail? I don't know. Hair's breadth, maybe. Fingernails. You guys will help me out with that. And it's just a shame. And luckily this weekend, it wasn't detrimental to positions in the league. But over the season with the handball and some of the nonsense we saw earlier, it's just taken the sting out of things. But as fans, I think that we all just want the right decisions. We want swift decisions. We don't want this bollocks of a toenail, you know, changing a result or a goal, or the implications one day are going to be so great. So they're trying to fix this. So that's why I asked Howard Webb about, talk to me, tell me what your answer is to fans. It's an emotional game. Kev talked about this on Kev Says. Remember when he says, are we too emotional? Well, bloody hell, Casey. This game is emotional. It's all about emotion. We stand on the terraces. We sing. We leave a game. We cry. We leave a game. We laugh. We leave a game. We're happy. We're emotional. We're fans. It's what we do, right? So my question to Howard Webb was, how do you explain this to fans? And I think patience is a thing, but also I believe that technology is new. They've got robots making cars now. I mean, they're taking over human jobs. There's going to be error in technology. So we're going to have to see how it all shakes out. Let me see what's going on in the chat room. Good evening, my little squaddies. Let's see what's happening up. Armpits. Yes, we're talking about armpits. Newman, was your story about Gigi and the chicken noodles? Oh, I need some chicken noodle soup. I would really appreciate that. I'm so happy this says public hair and not pubic hair. But there you go. And thank you, Lone Star. You guys make me feel like I'm alive too. Listen, it's not been a good week for VAR, but it's also going to be a transitional phase, right? I think we all agree on that. Let me tell you a little bit about what's happening. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, interestingly, one of the MLS interviews this week is with Matthew McConaughey. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's do it together. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, may not be feeling well, but you will never take the humor out of the Highbury squad or the squaddies, right? He is a part owner in Austin FC. They have sold, listen to this, guys, they've sold 15,000 season tickets in Austin. 15,000. I mean, the game here is exciting. There's good stuff happening. I know there might not be big names like Beckham playing or Zlatan playing or Gerrard or Lampard or Pirlo or Villa or Kaká, but you've got Beckham owning Inter Miami. By the way, Phil Neville, I'm going to get to chat to him a little bit too later on this week. He's the manager of Inter Miami. There's some really interesting stuff happening as well. So I'm going to bring it all to you and not name dropping, Keith, just letting you guys know what's happening. Speaking of name dropping, Super Kevin Campbell returns tomorrow night for Kevin Says. Oh, he's got 3 questions lined up for you guys. You are going to absolutely love it. Wednesday Women returns next week. So this Wednesday, we're going to have a casual Wednesday show. On Thursday, we have the post game. Let's hope we get through to the semifinals of the Europa League. Can we all just, for a minute, say a prayer for Thursday? Who's ready? A very brief Dear Lord, we have to win that game. We keep talking about how Arsenal have important games, and this is going to be the most important game of the season. It feels like we say that week in, week out. But this Thursday, it really is the most important game of the season. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. I think we're going to batter them. We're going to take them to the cleaners in their own backyard. Absolutely, we're going to do that. And then on Friday, we're going to return with the fan forum, the chat room forum, and it's all about you guys as well. So if there's anything else you would love to talk about this evening, let me know. If not, I'm going to head out right now. I'm going to go hang out with Vinny Vieira, maybe take a little walk. Maybe it will help, with the old feeling better and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to bring you the news from the week, because a lot of the times, there's interesting stuff that happens in MLS week, and especially from a technology point of view and rules and stuff, they are ahead of the game. And if there's any interesting player stuff, I'll bring it to you as well. So unless, Johnny, I'm an atheist, prayers don't work when it comes to Arsenal. Come on, be a believer, Johnny. You got to be a believer. So I saw her face, yet I'm a believer. We got prayers tonight. We got songs. We got VAR. I mean, what else do you guys want, right? Basuma brilliant again today. I see the game's on. Kev's probably watching diligently because he's going to have to report on it in just a little bit. Have I caught something from Oba? Hopefully not. Although our hair was very similar at one point. So I think that's probably it. I think lack of sleep has got me feeling a little like Steve Buscemi in, what was that? Armageddon. When he went cuckoo in space and stuff like that. That might be me today. I literally haven't slept a wink, so all good. Right. You do make me feel better, you crazy bastards. Listen, I've offered my thigh to Saka. I will give him any part of my body so he just stays fit for the rest of the season. I'm willing to take an injury, take a hit, just so Saka is fit. Who's with me? Who's coming with me other than Flipper here? See how things are getting crazy now? I think so. So Listen, smash the likes button if you hate Tottenham. The ref has smashed it once again. He had to go off because you know why? Family's more important. He had to go pick up his daughter and stuff. So brilliant stuff from the ref. I think in a nutshell, he hit the nail on the head. As I said, I will be back with Super Kevin Campbell tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to go. I'm going to put my feet up, have a nice cup of tea, maybe a chicken noodle soup. What's your favorite soup? I do like a tomato soup and a cheese toasty when I'm not well. Maybe one day we'll just have a food show where we talk about our favorite foods and our favorite sandwiches and soups, because that kind of stuff is fun. Anyway, I digress. Let's hit this one. Let's hit the road. Blah, blah, blah. Blue, blue, blue. Oxtail soup. I love it. Let's see. What do we got? Leek soup, corn soup, veggie soup. Tomorrow, I'm just waiting for Casey. I think we're going to go. Would you guys prefer we went after the Champions League game tomorrow or before? I'm thinking after. That way, everyone's all drummed up and ready. I know Taib's going to complain about it because he's been asking for 7 p.m. shows. But our show's always at 8. This week, only for this week, we're going to be a little bit flexible and stuff like that. So let me see what you guys are saying here. After. Yeah, I agree. Let's do it after. Hopefully, Casey can do it after. Turtle soup? You must be in Florida. There's no doubt about that. Arsenal's vegetable soup. After the game. After is good. Okay, we'll do it after. So hopefully that will be good with Super Kev. I'm sure it will. So listen, you guys. Love you lots like vodka shots. You guys are the heartbeat of this show. Couldn't do it without you. You become my co-host when I'm flying solo. And I really appreciate every single one of you. Monday Madness is a fun show. We get to talk a little bit about everything. Now we're getting into Minestrone FC, Stilton and Broccoli. Listen, to everyone in the UK, you take care of yourselves. I know things have opened up. Just make sure that you're careful and you keep doing the right thing. And to everyone around the world, no matter where you are, hope you're safe, sound. And listen, do you want to hear something new from Football Prizes? Let's bring up the banner. Let's get this going. I'm going to leave you with this thought today. Wonder if you like it. Robert Pires is this week's shirt. I'll be giving a free. We haven't won for 3 weeks, right? We haven't. Where's Jags? We need Jags back on board. We haven't won an auction for 3.5 weeks. It's time for the squaddies to win another one. This week's is Robert Pires, ladies and gentlemen. Roberto Pires. $4.95. Grab your ticket. Don't wait till Thursday. This will probably run out really quickly. Robert Pires, signed shirt. Who doesn't want a little piece of Bobby? Oh, my goodness. Exactly. Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. Super Rob. Love you guys too. Yo, Robert. Jag, stop getting the backhanders. That's hilarious. Well, listen. Go grab your ticket and I'll be giving a free one on Thursday night. In the meantime, I love you all very, very much. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you to the ref. God bless. Stay safe. And if you're an atheist, I'm not sure what I should say for Johnny Boy. But listen, just hang loose. We'll be back tomorrow night with Super Kevin Campbell. Come prepared. All right, my squaddies, I love you all. And always Arsenal. Now I'm holding the mics and I have to just do this.